What's up guys, my name is Harshal Mavani and in this video we start off with a new topic, exceptions in Java. I hope you know the pattern by now that we will start off with a general discussion and then we move on to complex questions. And as usual, all of this in 5 minutes. Well, hopefully. So let's get started. To define exceptions formally, we can say that exception is nothing but an event which occurs during the execution of a program. This particular event will disrupt the normal flow of the program instructions. To give you a very simple example, suppose you have designed a program which will take the user's age and this age is to be displayed. You can do so by either providing a user interface or a simple CMD program. Suppose you have a user interface. Your user interface would look something like this. Enter your age and you'll have a blank box over here wherein you can enter 39 or 40 or whatever. But what if your user is a big fan of the Joker? He just likes to watch the world burn. And instead of entering a number, that is the age, he enters something like 39A or 39B or something like this. In this case, your normal execution of the program is disrupted and you need some special code which will handle this particular exception. So this is a general introduction to the exceptions topic. Now let's talk about the interview process. So in your interview, you might have a question like, what about defensive programming? Should we opt for defensive programming or exception handling? First of all, what is defensive programming? Let's discuss defensive programming. In our previous example of entering your age in the program which you just designed, defensive programming would look something like this. What you have to do is you have to anticipate all the worst possible conditions. So you anticipate things like user entering his age something like 200. So you will have a check condition if age is equal to 200. Then, or instead of 200, a better case would be if it is greater than 200 or something like that. So that is case one. We can also have a case where if age dot contains, let's say, alphabets or special characters. Now this is just a pseudocode, so don't get into the details. This is just a pseudocode. So when I say pseudocode, this is nothing but you might have to implement age in a different way. You might have to create an age class rather than a simple numeric field. So this is called as defensive programming. This is exactly what do we mean by defensive programming. So when we talk about defensive programming, we are actually anticipating the worst cases and getting them into our code. So the question goes as, should we opt for defensive programming or should we opt for exception handling? Now, both have their own benefits. If you don't like exceptions, then fine, go ahead with defensive programming. But let's talk more about defensive programming. How exactly can it complicate things? So if we are to use defensive programming, let's just call it DP because defensive programming is big and I've said defensive programming many times by now. So by using DP, we might have to rack our brains. We'll have to look for many error conditions or many conditions that is going to break our code or disrupt the normal flow, as I just said. It can definitely complicate our code. It may lead to confusing spaghetti code, if I may. Let's go back to our programming example. We might have to write code to assume the following conditions. What if the age is less than 0? What if the age is alphanumeric? What if the age is not entered at all? And so on and so forth. We can have many conditions. We definitely will miss out on some conditions. So we can conclude that DP or defensive programming may get things complicated. Now, on the other hand, when we talk about exception handling says that you just put your code, all of the code that may cause an exception, into a special block. Let's not talk about this block right now. We'll come across that in a few videos. So exception handling tells you to put your code, your suspicious code, in a special kind of block. And that's it. And then exceptions will take care of the rest. You just have to write that special block. And further, you just have to tell your program what you have to do in case an exception occurs. To sum up our discussion, one of the main advantages of exception handling is that it gets your code nice and streamlined. You don't have to worry much about border conditions or error conditions. You simply have to write your suspicious code in a special block and just tell your program what to do. Like you code that how will the program behave under exceptional conditions. In the next video, we'll take a look at the exception hierarchy and the types of exception. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much. Keep watching.